Welcome, everybody. Welcome, fellow patriots. Welcome, fellow deplorables. Welcome, rock dwellers. Welcome once again to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Sharron Angle, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos radio network with a shout out to listeners in Jacksonville, Tampa, and the Villages, Florida, Las Vegas and Reno, Nevada, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster, and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Colorado, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Long Beach, California. We're everywhere. And today, joining me is my co-host, Nasir Shaikh, the doctor from the right, I guess, Dr. Nasir Shaikh, Dr. Right. Welcome to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Hi, Sharon. How are you today? And we begin the show always by saying, isn't it just another great day to be alive and well and free and living in the United States of America, the greatest country in the history of the world, bar none.
Bar none. Well, I'm great, but I want to talk to you about what's on your radar these days. It seems like after a weekend, we really get a bunch of news and the liberals have time to go nuts. And so let's talk about that. What are they doing out there?
Well, let's start with a few things. There's so much, but one of the things that I want to start off is Trump's tweets. I say they're tantalizing. Not only they're tantalizing, they're titillating. And they're tremendous. I've always loved the fact that President Trump talks directly to us, to the American people, to flyover country, to country class Americans, to the entire country. And so it's unfiltered. He can bypass basically the alt-left media, the left-stream media, what I call the Democratic State Party controlled media. And he has political instinct. Although he's not a politician, he has an instinct about politics, which is second only. I think he even surpassed perhaps even President Reagan, especially in this day of media, Twitter, Instagram, all the things that can be used for technology and media following. Just look what he's done in terms of what I call the Mad Squad. Remember that show back, I guess it was in the 70s or 80s, it was called the Mod Squad? Well, now you got this group where he has linked Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Alexandria Cortez, and this one other that I can't remember right.
Presley, I think her last name is Presley.
Well, yeah, that's her, Alyana Presley. No relation, okay, to Elvis Presley. Anyways, he's put them into this box. Now the Democrats are painted. This is the face of the Democratic Party. And you know what? The media, they're running and they're saying he made a tweet that said, go back to your own country. I looked at that tweet. It didn't say that. It said, if you want to teach us, then why don't you do what you're supposed to do? Do a lab experiment. Go back to your country and then institute the policy that you think you want to institute here in the United States of America. And if they work out over there, hey, great, we'll bring them over here. He never once said, go back to your country and stay there. He said, go back there, teach us what we're doing wrong, and if we're doing it wrong, we'll right ourselves. But the press, same thing. Remember when President Trump tweeted that the media is the enemy of the American public? It wasn't the media. He said it was the all-left media, the Democratic State Party controlled media. It was certain components of the media that were a threat to American democracy. So, I mean, that's just, I love it when he tweets. I don't cringe. There are some things that, okay, fine, but I think everything goes off a little filter. The news runs with it. But overall, his capacity for political instinct is absolutely spot on. And I'm telling you what, by him making Nancy Pelosi seem like a moderate, absolute political genius as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I think you're right, Nasir. I met him in 2009. No, not 2009. I'm sorry, 2015. And he asked me, this was summer of 2015, and he asked me, how do you get the press to pay attention to you, Sharron Angle? And I said, well, I don't press release. All I do is talk to my followers on Twitter, and the press picks me up. So about 4 or 5 months later, he started tweeting, and it's true. All of the press will get on your Twitter feed just to see if they can scoop, and I'm glad to have them scoop me, and he is too. And you're right, he does have great political instincts, but I love his tweets. I especially like this one. I love America, and when you love something, you protect it passionately, fiercely even. And he's so right on. That's the way the heartland feels. We are the ones that have gone to war. We are the ones that have children that have fought. We are the ones who have fathers and uncles and cousins who have fought, even mothers who have fought. So he's exactly right. When you love something passionately, you protect it fiercely. And so you're exactly right about President Trump, and you're also right, and he's right, about the left-wing media. And they don't always tell the truth, do they, Nasir? I mean, they spin it their way.
And we have to realize that's what's going to happen to all of our listeners and our audience out there, to all the conservatives. This is there's things that you can't change, and you have to learn that there are certain things, that you've got to understand. Control the things that you can control, and the things that are uncontrollable, you can't. So we're not going to be able to control the all-left press, the Democratic State Party control media. But one of the things that we can do is we can fight back. With President Trump, if there's anything that he's done so much for us. I mean, starting with our foreign policy, for the Neil Gorsuch and Kavanaugh on the bench, for the tax cuts, for getting us out of TPP, for getting us out of Paris Climate. I could go on and on and on. But I think the biggest thing that he has taught us is that for Republicans, for all of us in flyover country class Americans, and even for some of the Republicans in the swamp, he's taught us how to fight back. And if somebody calls you a bigot, somebody calls you a racist, somebody calls you a homophobe, somebody calls you whatever it is, any ism, he basically takes, and you know what he does? He says, no, I'm not, but you are. You're the racist. You're the bigot. You're the homophobe. You're the person that hates America. I love America. And the press doesn't know what to do with that, because in the past, everybody in Washington, D.C., all never Trumpers, and you can see this with Billy Crystal, with George Will, and all those guys. I love to read their articles. But you know what? These are intellectual people that are freaking high tea, and now they're siding the Democrats. You know why? Because they don't like to be labeled anything. They hate to be called race. They hate to be called bigots. They all want to be on the Sunday news cycle, and if they don't cozy up these people, they won't be invited there. And President Trump basically says, you know what? I don't give a crap. I am who I am. I'm going to say what I say, and that's what the American people, at least those of us in flyover country and country-class Americans, we love that, because this is what he's talking to us about. That's what we say. We go, you know what? That's what I would have said. I wouldn't have punctuated with Billy Crystal like, opaque wordisms, or George Will's, oratorical phrases. Nobody does that. You write that. You don't talk that way. And President Trump has basically taught us how to fight back. You know what? Press, the media gaggle in Washington, D.C., they really don't know what to do, because they throw everything at him, and it hasn't worked at all.
No, and it won't stick either. But we have to go to a short break. We are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, American Political Radio, Leading Edge Radio Network, and AM/FM 24/7. And now you can watch us on the AUN TV network in Northern California. Nasir and I will be right back after this break.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Welcome back to Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Sharron Engel. I'm joined here by my co-host, Dr. Wright, Dr. Nasir Shaikh, and we are coming to you not only from our Conservative Commandos radio show networks, but now you can watch us on the AUN TV network in San Francisco, San Rafael, Marin, North Bay, San Jose, Silicon Valley, Santa Rosa, Wine Country, Redding, Chico, Sacramento, just Pelosi country. That's what we call it. We're broadcasting in there. And Dr. Shaikh, we have 3 great guests. Would you introduce our guests for us?
I'd be glad to, Sharon. Our first guest is going to be Lieutenant Colonel Sargis Sangari. He is a retired U.S. Army colonel, extensive combat in the Middle East, and he's going to be talking to us how can we understand foreign policy, especially understanding the backyard wars. We also have Frank Vernuccio, who serves as the editor-in-chief to the New York Analysis of Policy and Government. Frank is going to be talking to us about, are we selling out to China? And finally, we're going to have our guest is going to be a Dr. Michael Busler. He is a public policy analyst and also a professor of finance at Stockton University. Dr. Busler is going to be talking to us about an article that he wrote titled $15 Minimum Wage Will Do More Harm Than Good. So once again, 3 great guests lined up. Can't wait to hear from them, Sharon.
I can't either, but I want to get back to the press a bit. They really, not only do they not like the president, they don't like anybody that has the same values as the president. I'm speaking of a Hall of Famer. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, yes. Well, for all of you out in the listening audience, you also know that here we are conservative. But you know what? I happen to be a New York Yankees fan. So that probably put me right away. 50% of the audience is probably going to say, oh, there it goes. There goes Dr. Nasir once again. But you know what? The Yankees are winners. They're from New York. They're just like the president. And recently we had Mariano Rivera, who not only is he a great ball player, Hall of Famer, the first person ever in the history of our national pastime, baseball, to be inducted into a Hall of Fame with 100% of the vote. Nobody, not Babe Ruth, not Lou Gehrig, not DiMaggio, none of the greats got in with 100%. And not only is he a great baseball man, but he's a great family man. He's also a great person contributing to charities or whatever. And you know what? Nobody ever, while he was playing, talked about his faith. Now, here I am on Conservative Commandos. As I said so many times before, I'm an American first. I happen to be a second-generation Muslim, but there is a war going on in this country against Christians. And they are attacking now, some of the writers are now attacking Mariano Rivera, and they're talking about because he's an evangelical, and because of his views in terms of pro-Israel, and also because of his views of being pro-Trump. And so they didn't attack him beforehand, because if they did, they'd be run out of town. But now, just like anything else, just like when they're attacking those Christian bakers for not baking a cake for gay or transgender weddings, or whenever they put up all these, when in museums, you can do all kinds of degradation, okay, to the Bible or to the cross or whatever it is. They would never think of doing that to any other religious faith, but they can attack Christianity here. And Sharron, why don't obviously, how do you feel when they're, attacking, your faith?
Well, I feel like my First Amendment right has been absolutely trashed, like I'm some kind of second-class citizen when it comes to my right to the First Amendment, which is freedom of religion and also freedom of speech. And I'm sure that Mariano Rivera feels that same way when the Daily Beast comes after him and accuses him of secret right-wing politics. Secret right-wing politics.
Look at the way they talk about it. You look at the words they use. Secret right-wing. Next thing you know, they're probably going to label him, okay, a white supremacist.
Well, they kind of, in a way, did. They did, because down through the article. Now, understand, this guy's a baseball player. He's never been political.
Never.
He never even talked about his faith that much when he was playing baseball. It was about baseball. The Hall of Fame is about baseball.
Yes.
But not to these left-wing radicals in the media. They grab a hold of the things that they want to grab a hold of politically, and they will smear anyone, even, as you say, 100% Hall of Famer like Mariano Rivera.
And a great family man. I mean, there are people in the Hall of Fame, I could go through the list, Ty Cobb, even Babe Ruth and these other guys. Just in those days, okay, whatever they were doing, they didn't fall into, they had no principles or religious values with them. They were doing all sorts of things that we would consider, okay, not to be done in today's world or whatever, but they're in the Hall of Fame. And here you've got this gentleman who's raised millions of dollars for poor people, whether they were Christian or not. I mean, whatever it is, he's done so much for the city of New York, so much for underprivileged children, and yet now there's time to go ahead and attack. And you've seen this happen to many people on your side of the aisle, our side of the aisle. I mean, but you know what? Because it's open season, it's the thing to do. Unfortunately.
Well, it is. And here's where he becomes a white supremacist, even though he's a brown fellow. Trump tweeted. So now it goes back to Trump. Trump tweeted, "Congratulations to Mario Rivera on unanimously being elected to the National Baseball Hall of Fame. Not only a great player, but a great person. I'm thankful for Mariano's support of the Opioid Drug Abuse Commission." Oh my gosh, that was it. That was this. These guys went nuts. Now they're because he has an affiliation, not with Trump. He didn't say, "Mr. Trump, I support you." It's just because the president gave him a commendation, which he does to a lot of ball players. He invites them to the White House. He he wants Americans not to be divided. He wants Americans to be united around the things that unite them. And, you know, baseball's one of those things. Like you said, it's the national pastime. Until one of these players goes political and goes rogue on us, we really do enjoy our sports, and it doesn't matter about politics. But, you know, this guy, he went nuts. Once he got that tweet, now he's got Mariano Rivera, a picture of him standing on the Israeli flag on a yarmulke. Come on. I mean, everybody knows that's a doctored picture if there ever was one. But, you know, it's like you said, open season.
You're right. And look what happened with Tiger Woods. President Trump, what did he do? He sort of, before Tiger won the Masters, he basically said he's a champion, and one of these days he's going to come back. And lo and behold, Tiger won the Masters, and Tiger's, you know, played golf with him. And good for Tiger and good for Mariano that they didn't allow the bullies in the leftist media to basically, you know, kowtow them to declare that, you know what, oh, we're not, you know, we're not basically, you know, friends with President Trump, or we don't like him or whatever. They stood their ground, and unfortunately these days, like you said, anytime, and you notice one thing that President Trump, when he talked, he didn't say a black ball player or a black golfer, but the left would lead with that. You know, they would say, oh, Mariano, the first black pitcher in the National League or the American League or in baseball to be admitted into the Hall of Fame. So we on the right have always thought about, you know, it's our content. It's what we do. It's not the color of your skin, red, white, brown, green, black, or whatever. It's what are you doing out there, who you are. But unfortunately, in today's media, the way it is, sometimes, you know, you've got to use those adjectives because you're trying to delineate and demarcate the differences between what's going on. But, you know, the left always will predicate it before with some type of color theme, whether it's man or woman, or then now we're getting into the first woman. And then if it's the first woman, then it's the first woman of color. And this is how the left continues to play that victim mentality and to attack those. So if you attack women, you're a sexist. If someone's too old, you're an ageist. If you're, you know, attack somebody of color, then you're a racist or a bigot. I mean, this is what they use. And as we were talking about in the previous segment, President Trump has said, you know what? They attack you, you attack them right back. And basically laying a groundwork, a ground path, a blueprint for us to basically say, enough is enough. We're not going to take it anymore. And you want to call us something? We're going to, you know what? When you point fingers, there's 3 of them pointing right back at you.
That's right. And, you know, I have to say that those little boxes on all of the things that we have to fill out at the doctor's office or at any government office where they ask for your
yes,
race or your nationality. You know, I've started saying human. I'm of the human race. And I think we should just not play into their stuff with this narrative that they are writing about us. We are up against a break again, and we will be joined with our first guest right after this break. We're coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, American Political Radio, Leading Edge Radio Network, and AM/FM 24/7. We'll be right back with our first guest, Sargis Sangari, and we're going to be talking about his expertise on Middle East politics.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is, there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to buyyourtimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. Buyyourtimeshare.com. That's buyyourtimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Welcome back, everybody. We're coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Show Network. I'm Sharron Angle with my co-host, Dr. Wright, Dr. Nasir Shaikh. And we are coming to you from the AUN TV network as well in Northern California. Nasir, our first guest is ready. Would you please introduce him and make him feel welcome?
Thanks, Sharon. It'd be my honor. We have Lieutenant Colonel Sargis Sangari. He is a retired U.S. Army colonel who saw extensive combat in the Middle East as a Special Operation Forces soldier, and who in his retirement now is continuing to advise the fledgling Assyrian Christian army known as, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this correctly, Dawak Nawasha, with his military expertise. Colonel Sangari is going to be talking to us about how we can understand foreign policy, especially what we talk about with these backyard wars. So, Colonel, welcome to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
It's good to be here, and I think from now on we need to just call the Syrian army. Vernuccio is really difficult for a lot of folks to pronounce.
Well, that was one of the questions I had. Give our listening and viewing audience, because this is something that we don't hear about too often, especially now with things being thrown in terms of what's happening with Russia. It looks like Syria has pretty much, been thrown into the back burner. We hardly hear anything about it. But give us an idea as to who this group is. And like I said, in your advisement capacity, I mean, is our government, are we doing anything to help them? Or what's going on with Syria now?
No, look, the Syrian army, also known as Vernuccio, initially when they came to us to ask us for advice, they were known as Vernuccio, and Aramaic means the self-sacrifices, basically. That's how it translates. When they came to us, the commander, he stated that, we need to get support from the U.S., and this is when the genocide had just started in Iraq and in Syria against the Assyrian Christians. And I was very blunt with him. I said, U.S. will not do anything to help. I said, if you want to look at your past is always a harbinger of your what's to come, your future. Since 2003, U.S. military forces in full strength were in Iraq. The European Union was in Iraq. NATO was in Iraq. We even had our support networks from other coalition capabilities to include the Koreans and at the time forces from Georgia and Iraq. During that time, the Assyrian Christians went from 1.5 million down to where we are today, almost 150,000 remaining. Wow. So regardless of all those forces being on the ground, I told the commanders, they didn't do anything for you then with all their force structure capability. Now that everybody's trying to live under the previous administration, what do you think is going to happen? You got to do it on your own. You gotta get the operations done, then go to the table and say, look, this is what I was able to do. So we started conducting operations, unilateral operations, both in Syria and Iraq. In Iraq, we established the forward line of troops, which is basically the farthest line between the two enemies. And we conducted operations there. In Syria, we conducted operations. Then we went to the office of the Secretary of Defense and told them this is what we were able to do, including the Department of State. Today, the armed forces known as the Vernuccio and the Assyrian army has been removed off the battlefield. We did so because the State Department was not going to support this type of a force structure. Their intent was to take the Assyrian Christians in Iraq, and they're now doing the same thing in Syria, to either have them serve under the Sunni Muslim Kurds as a Peshmerga force, or under the Hashishabi, which recently was ordered by the government of Iraq to disband and go back and be part of the larger Iraqi army force structure, which we're not sure if that will happen, given majority of the leadership of the Hashishabi currently is under the sanctions list by the U.S. So for us, our capability was supported internally by the Assyrians and others, where we established the United Assyrian Appeal, which is a 501c3. We initially established it in March of 2015. It didn't become a 501c3 until 2016, and we were able to support the families for the fighters fought. In this capacity, as we're talking about what is happening, and you said it well, that Syria is forgotten. Today, the Assyrian forces that are in Syria have unified to be able to basically exist. And that capacity, because of the unification, the Kurdish forces and the Kurdish policy makers in the region of Syria that we are supporting were not happy with it. So because they're the ones who administer the region, there were multiple car bombs, one against the church in one of the major cities in Syria that took place. So the Assyrian Christians have to do it on their own. They're not going to get any support under previous administrations, or even current administration will not support a unified Assyrian structure unless it is part of a possibly future state or structure that falls into what the Iraqi constitution considers as a regional government, in this case, Assyrian Nineveh Plain or Nineveh province for the Iraqis.
Well, Colonel, when you talk about in your article where you're saying to understand foreign policy, understanding these backyard wars or these proxy wars that the larger governments sort of, enter into and, fight in neighboring battlegrounds or neighboring smaller states, and then can always bring us closer to the brink of war when the major states or the ones that are around there get into it. Nobody realized this thing at the time in the State Department, neither with the CIA or the intelligence or whatever, that what would happen with the fall of Saddam Hussein, and with always there was that buffer between Iraq and Iran. Iraq would attack Iran, then there would be another a shift, in terms of battle, but there was always a buffer there. Even whatever you consider how diabolical, Saddam Hussein was, now you have Iranian hegemony basically in that area. So you've got Iran, which is now a huge player, in that part of the world. So I want to sort of shift a little bit and ask you, with everything going on, in that area, Strait of Hormuz and with Iran, how would you, if you had the chance to have President Trump's ear, with the taking of the British oil tanker and how possibly close we are maybe to getting into some type of another engagement with Iran, what would be your policy? What would you be whispering, or what would your advice be to President Trump in terms of how to handle what's happening, with this Iranian sort of crisis that's brewing right now?
I would tell him to stay the course as is and be patient in this process. Understand that this is an internal fight within Islam itself. I have said that before, where you have the Shia jockeying to be the leader of Islam, you have Saudi Arabia wanting to be the leader of Islam, and Turkey too. Turkey, of course, is going to have major issues internally to have to deal with. I don't think Turkey's any longer going to be a player as far as that internal fight is concerned. And understand that when you're involved in the region, as much as our allies, as an example, we'll take the oil tankers since you mentioned them, are there to support us. They're there to support us for their own interests. They're not there to support us because they bleed red, white, and blue for the U.S. interests. I'll give you an example. When the oil tankers were seized by the British, the Iranian oil tanker, the British began right away negotiating for the release of their hostage in Iran. That oil tanker basically was used as a negotiation tool. Iranians trying to counter it basically took British oil tankers. Now, from an information operational standpoint, from an American perspective, American citizens may not understand that this is kind of a maturation of this internal fight for the British trying to jockey to be able to get their folks to release instead of paying them out right as we did under the previous administration to try to seize the oil tanker and get their folks released, and the Iranians are jockeying against them. On one hand, the British say we're in it because we're a coalition, we're in support of U.S. interests in the region, that's why we seize that oil tanker. On the other hand, if the U.S. doesn't come into play right now and try to do something to alleviate the pressures off of England because their oil tankers are seized, Britain can use that against us by one saying that, well, we're supporting you, but you're not supporting us. Secondly, Britain can say that, the whole process that we have gone through, if it gives us an out to be able to walk away and go back to a different type of a discussion or a different possible agreement with Iran in the future, Europe having its own perspective on how that agreement should be struck economically than the U.S., then they can use that for their wants and desires. So in this process, we have to be very careful that as much as even in that little piece, if our allies are willing to play these games with us when it comes to foreign policy, imagine what our adversaries are doing to us.
That's absolutely correct. Well, Colonel, we've got to take a quick break here. We hope you can hang on with us for our second part of the interview, coming up, if you can stay on with us for the next segment. You're listening to the Conservative Commandos radio show here as we're coming to you live from the Conservative Commandos radio studio, and we're going to be taking a break here in the next couple of minutes for our sponsors to have their say-so. We'll be back in just a few.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show. We're coming to you from our Conservative Commando Network studio with Nasir, Shaikh, my co-host, and I'm Sharron Angle. And we'd like to give a shout out to our listeners in Jacksonville, Tampa, and the Villages, Florida, Las Vegas and Reno, Nevada, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Colorado, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Long Beach, California, and now you can even listen to us in Washington, D.C. We have been talking with our guest, Sargis Sangari, about the Middle East, the problems that are going on there, and I want to welcome you back, Colonel. You are one of my favorite guests. I've told many people to tune in to the show we did recently where you discussed why President Trump was smart not to respond to the taking out of our drone and how much information we gathered from the attack on that drone. So I just feel like you have an expertise that we need here in America. And you're talking about now the whole political spectrum that goes on behind the scenes, things that we don't see, and yet they really do affect our daily lives. So would you continue on there? Why is this important to us as Americans to really understand the intricacies of these backyard wars?
Well, it's important. The reason I call the backyard wars and I concentrated on that type of focus when it came to the Daily Herald article was because everybody has a backyard. I figure everybody has a common level will understand if somebody enters your backyard, to include a squirrel who wants to eat off of your tree, if you're going to take measures and steps against it. So now imagine when multi-nation states come into your backyard. The problem is today they don't come into your backyard anymore individually, and you're not fighting with proxies against them. They're coming in now, bringing all these economic connections that exist globally. So when Iran is fighting against Britain when it comes to trying to negotiate on these oil tankers, you have China in there. You have the Shanghai Cooperation Organization there. You have Russia there. So it complicates the issue. So the friction points are added to a small, simple conflict becomes more magnified. The problem we run into sometimes, we focus solely on what is at hand today in the U.S. policy. As an example, this past week, you had the ministerials that were held in the United States. There are Vice President initiative supported by the Department of State. In that, individuals were brought in. There are Christians in Iran that met with the president, talked about the persecution that is taking place against them. But as Mr. Nasir mentioned before, especially on Syria, that we have forgotten about it, at the same time that was happening, just 2 days prior to that meeting, you had a Christian woman in Syria who was tortured and raped for 6 to 9 hours and then stoned to death. But nobody even mentioned it. Why? Because from our perspective, Syria belongs to the Russians. We can't get into that backyard to fight against them. So we focus in the backyard that we have, which is currently Iraq and possibly future Iran as far as the bazaars and economics are concerned. In this process, what ends up happening, U.S. takes a hit internationally because U.S. is looked at as a key major power, but it's not able to dissect some of the nuances of foreign policy as far as how it's being looked at regionally. Take a look at what is happening with Iran. Yes, we're not going to retaliate, let the British untangle it, but at the same time, when we don't retaliate, Iran takes British tankers, Iran starts winning the information operation campaign as being the lead of Islam globally. And the longer this fight takes, as far as getting to a resolution, which would be possibly an agreement with the current administration, or maybe in the future a treaty ratified, of course, through the Senate by Congress. What ends up happening is Iran becomes stronger. So when Iran becomes strong, guess what? The Sunni states that we have invested money in become weak, and they start falling. So these are the little pieces of the dynamics that we have to look at. Either we can look at it from it's just happening because of bad foreign policy, or it's happening because it was intended to go through this course of action.
Well, and you're talking in your article not just about the Middle East. There are other hot spots in the world. In fact, you bring a case in point. The U.S. is rushing toward regime change in Venezuela. Talk about those backyards there.
Well, I mean, look, it was obvious. Everybody came out, said that there's going to be a regime change within 24 hours. Months later, it's the same thing. Nothing has changed. And again, this is where you start taking hits if you don't understand the backyard wars concept. We already knew that Hezbollah was in Venezuela. We knew that Russia was in Venezuela. We knew that China was in Venezuela. We knew that Cuba was in Venezuela. And they were not going to just let go of that piece of terrain. Now, if the U.S. wanted to strike a deal because Venezuela sits in its backyard, then it could have worked with other nations possibly to try to see what all of them can benefit in that backyard. And I think that's what the concept of the article was. If we can start changing our mentality from the old Cold War era to a different type of an approach, you could have a win-win-win-win-win for everybody in play. And look, our interest, as much as we say that we want to have Venezuela change, is a socialist nation. It's been socialist from day one. What are you going to do? Replace one socialist with another? You have to understand what is the outcome of what we're trying to achieve in Venezuela for the benefit of the United States globally. In Iraq, as an example, if the U.S. and Russia continuously keep on beating up at each other, I should say not Iraq, but in the Middle East, China's waiting to come in and pick up the pieces afterwards. Eventually, we have to make these type of decisions that are going to allow us to be able to be part of the fabric of those backyards. And if we can focus our foreign policy in that capacity, we'll be fine. Unfortunately, our foreign policy is a 2-year foreign policy, given Congress changes over so often.
Well, and you also mention Asia. We've got some stuff going on with China and North Korea, and there's nuances there. Talk about that.
Well, it was very simple. North Korea figured that the call to a nuclear-capable Korea that is willing to use ballistic capabilities to use those weapons was going to bring the U.S. to the table. If you kind of look at it from a North Korean perspective, North Korea played China and the U.S. against each other. China took all the blame for everything that North Korea was doing. In doing so, and by pushing the possibility of a nuclear conflict, it brought the U.S. to the table. It brought the U.S. markets to the table. It brought a president who was willing to develop markets to the table. And now, if you look at it, for the past 40, 50 plus years, that nation has been setting itself up to where it can negotiate to be possibly the best future workforce or cheap workforce that could be utilized by international companies who are looking at leaving China, getting into the other cheap labor markets, and North Korea would be one of those capabilities. So this is how these small states that we look at as being our backyards are able to play the superpowers against each other to get themselves to a position where they could be equal when it came to at least some states and how their economy and future policies will be developed.
We are talking with Lieutenant Colonel retired Sargis Sangari, and we've been talking about his article to understand foreign policy, understand backyard wars. Sargis, tell us how our audience can follow your articles and learn more about what you do.
Well, they could go to the Near East Center for Strategic Engagement. We're on Twitter also. We don't write that much, but when we write, we try to write comprehensive, policies. What I do and what we write, and I've written papers for the National Security Council. I've given papers to the government of Australia with China's influence in Australia. Australia being a key footprint for us in a future possible conflict in the region. We have also provided requirement supports for the PSI of Japan. And in that process, a lot of stuff that we do, I could have just given it to policymakers, charged them hundreds of thousands of dollars. But we've tried to teach the people, the average guy out there who doesn't have that money, to understand how link analysis work. And a lot of stuff that we give for free in order for our listeners to become better individuals who could affect and maybe push towards better policies in the future.
Well, we're so grateful that you joined us here on Conservative Commandos radio show. Thank you so much, and God bless you.
Thank you very much. God bless.
We are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, American Political Radio, Leading Edge Radio Network, and AM FM 24/7. We'll be right back after this break with our next guest, Frank Vernuccio, who serves as the editor-in-chief of the New York Analysis and of Policy and Government, and he's going to be talking to us about selling out to China. Be sure and stay with us after this break.
AM FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is, there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to buyyourtimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. Buyyourtimeshare.com. That's buyyourtimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show, where we are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Network studios. And we do want to shout out to our listeners in Jacksonville, Tampa, and the Villages, Florida, Las Vegas and Reno, Nevada, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Colorado, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Long Beach, California, and now in Washington, D.C. We're everywhere. And I want to introduce my co-host again, Dr. Nasir Shaikh. Nasir, our next guest is with us. Would you please introduce him and make him feel welcome?
Thanks, Sharon. We have Frank Vernuccio, who serves as the editor-in-chief of the New York Analysis of Policy and Government, which provides objective coverage on key issues facing America today. Frank is also the co-host of the Vernuccio Novak Report, which is nationally syndicated in broadcast radio and on the web at AM/FM 24.7. Frank also co-hosts the American Political Zone. Frank, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Nasir, Sharron, it's great to be with you again.
Well, listen, we want to talk about your article and what you wrote in terms of selling out to China. And isn't it funny that, you know what, all everyone's talking about, it's Russia, Russia, Russia. But when it's coming to China, all of a sudden now, it's like, you know what, nobody cares. And my question is, you know, you have so much in your article we're going to go through with this in terms of, you know, what one of the presidential candidates, Andrew Yang, talked about. Mm-hmm. You talked about the overwhelming evidence of Beijing's malicious practice in terms of intellectual property theft, you know, playing around with their currency and all that. And my question is this: if you and I had some type of a company that was in the IT sector or dealt with some type of security issues with the United States or with some type of an app that we were making, and we decided that we wanted to partake of that great U.S. enterprise system called free enterprise and capitalism and decide to share that with China, why is it that I suspect that you and I would be picked up by the DOJ, the FBI, or CIA and perp walked, okay, in the early mornings and taken to a jail cell, whereas with government officials and capital cronyism, you know, they can do it all day long like Senator Biden and Beau Biden. Why is that not considered treason if we're selling and giving our secrets to China?
Well, that's a great question. By the way, it was Hunter Biden that was dealing with China.
Oh, I'm sorry, right. Yes, Hunter. It's a Biden.
You're absolutely right. There's absolutely no question whatsoever that dealing with China is dealing not with a Chinese company, but dealing with the Chinese government. And when you are transferring technology to China, it might be part of a business deal that is billed as private enterprise, but actually it's going to the Chinese government. So when you look at, for example, if Boeing or another large company wants to build or sell airplanes to China, and the Chinese demand that, well, we'll buy your airplanes now, but in order to complete this deal, you have to give us the techniques about how you build better airplanes. That is immediately taken by the Chinese military, the People's Liberation Army, and used to strengthen their military. Now, the question in all this, since there's no one is really questioning that is the practice, that the Chinese government is doing these things. Most recently, of course, we know the company Huawei, which is the Chinese technology company dealing with communications and 5G and all that. The question really is, why hasn't anyone up until the Trump administration even had this as part of a discussion? Let's go 1990s. We know, for example, that the Clinton administration okayed the sale of a Cray supercomputer to China, which the Chinese military used to catch up to the United States in military technology. We know, of course, in that same decade, that the Chinese attempted to funnel contributions to the Clinton campaign. Let's flash forward a little bit further. You know, we know that in the year 2000, just before he was going out of office, President Clinton signed legislation which gave China essentially most favored nation status in dealing with the United States, all part of the same package. No one really raised any hackles about that whatsoever. Now, the Chinese are looking to push even further into the United States. They're engaging in more and more espionage activities. There's no question about that. That is there. It's definite. But when President Trump or anyone else tries to bring this up, well, it seems that the political establishment doesn't want to hear it. Then you push into this a bit further. And as you alluded to before, Vice President Biden, while he was vice president, flew on Air Force Two to China, brought along his son, Hunter Biden, who concluded $1 billion+ deal with the Chinese. Talk about a conflict of interest. The guy flew aboard Air Force Two while his father, the vice president, was engaging in diplomacy with China and, oh, by the way, cut a $1 billion personal profit deal in a field, by the way, that he had absolutely no expertise in.
Exactly. Here's the other thing. I mean, if we can overlook this, I mean, the fact of the matter is that this is out in the open. It's not even disputed. But yet, like they say, the cesspool in Washington, D.C., they don't want to have hearings on it. They don't want to go into it, no matter how out in the open it is inside there. So if they can get away with it and nobody cares, I mean, what's the next step? I mean, how, other than having President Trump bring it up every now and then, how are we protecting our national security interests when it deals sort of with, capitalism opportunities for these companies to sell their wares to China?
And Nasir, it's not even companies. We know that there are things called Confucius Institutes in universities across the United States. These are centers within universities funded entirely by the Chinese government for the sole purpose of providing propaganda to young students about China and its relations with the United States. This goes really, really deep. The problem goes the fact that so many of our elected officials apparently have become quite rich in dealing with China. They have a personal vested interest in this going through. Let me give an example of how different this is from other aspects of government. Shortly after 9/11, I was appointed head of the Workers' Compensation Board for the New York City area. Now, each year I had to fill out this voluminous form as someone dealing with state government, as an executive in state government, detailing every piece of income I had, every stock I owned, every company I had any affiliation with whatsoever. And heaven forbid, if I was affiliated with some company that was dealing with the state, that would have said that was a conflict of interest, and you can't do that. Here we have, just to take one example, the son of the Vice President of the United States cutting a $1 billion deal with China, and apparently no one is concerned about it except President Trump.
Well, here's the other thing is that why also is it that, for example, in terms of when we talk about this, where's that fine line, Frank, in terms of sort of dealing with these companies and, companies here trying to generate, obviously revenue and income and dealing with these multinational corporations, and at the same time trying to minimize the security risks that we talk about? Is there a way that is there a fine line, or is this one of the things that we're just going to have to deal with on a case-by-case basis? And if you happen to cozy up to an administration that allows it to happen, so be it?
Well, I think there are a couple of issues. Number one, elected officials should not be engaging in military technology type transfers to the Chinese. The problem with a communist government is that there really is no such thing as a private company. They're all aspects of the Chinese government. If you were going to sell, I guess as an American company, dresses, nice women's dresses to the Chinese, I don't think anyone would be too concerned about that. But if you're talking about selling technology to the Chinese government, well, that's something else again. That's something that could be used against the United States. And also, I don't think it's too outrageous to say that no official of government should be dealing with China for their personal profit at all at this point in time. Let's be blunt. I know you're not supposed to say this, but China is an enemy nation. Their intent is upon our destruction, or at least our minimization throughout the world. Therefore, it's inappropriate for government officials to be dealing with China.
Oh, if only they would listen to words of wisdom. We're here speaking with Frank Vernuccio on the Conserve Commandos radio show. We've got to take a quick break. Frank, would you mind holding over till the next segment for us?
My pleasure.
Oh, great. Well, you're listening to us here on the Conserve Commandos radio show, coming to you live from the Conserve Commandos Radio Studios Network. And we're going to be taking a quick break for our sponsors. We'll be back in just a few. Stay tuned for our second part of our interview with Frank Vernuccio.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America, and get this. Did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Sharron Angle, and my co-host is Dr. Nasir Shaikh. We're here with you on the Conservative Commandos radio show. And if you'd like to watch us on TV, be sure and tune in to the AUN TV network that is now broadcasting in all of Pelosi country, Northern California, Sacramento, San Francisco, San Jose. We are here talking with our guest, Frank Vernuccio, who has been talking to us about China. And Frank, I want to get a couple of your articles, statements here. I just want you to really talk to us a little bit about this. One of the latest examples of China's dangerous practices was recently noted by the Washington Free Beacon, which reported that China's Huawei Technologies provided secret access points for Chinese intelligence to conduct cyber operations through the equipment. 55% of the company's devices contained at least, get this, one backdoor access. That means they're coming in through our back doors into our stuff. This is war, isn't it, Frank?
Well, it certainly is. And by the way, speaking of war, I had an off-the-record conversation with one of the retired but former top military leaders in the United States. And I asked him, what is it that really keeps you up at night? And he said, the most important thing that keeps him up is that some of our military equipment may have parts in it that originated in China. Yeah. So indeed, if you are, say, an F-15 pilot and you are firing an air-to-air missile, it's not inconceivable that one of the computer chips in that device originated in China. And in a conflict, China could easily switch a lever and simply say, fire this way instead of that. Now, there has been some suspicion that the weird situation where a number of our ships were engaged in collisions that didn't seem to make a lot of sense. Perhaps they had computer chips that were intentionally screwed up by China. This isn't just the military. A number of years ago, an American technology company, which actually produces both high-end and low-end technology, bought a phone system from China. And they started finding out that a lot of the conversations from their engineers, somehow the substance of it was known in China. And they were actually making products to the market before this company, which actually made them, could do it themselves. It turned out the phone system they had bought had that back door. So this is a very serious thing. And, one of the problems is that we talk about our expensive military budget. Well, unfortunately, the American taxpayer is also paying for Chinese military technology, which is going to be used against us.
Well, we're so concerned about computers and people hacking our computers. And here you're telling us we're actually giving them a way to hack us.
Yeah, basically that's the case, particularly if we're talking about, how many people in the United States now have personal computers which were made in China? So, and a lot of those are in companies which are doing high-tech research. So you're seeing that research go in China. There are stories where, for example, software, let's take something really low-end, a computer game. There are computer games manufactured by an American company which are on sale in the streets of Shanghai and Beijing before they're on sale in the United States. Now, those are pirated copies, of course, but that's how serious this has become.
Well, speaking about pirating, there's another sentence in your article. U.S. companies, inventors, and workers have witnessed the damaging impact of China's trade-distorting policies in curtailed exports, stolen intellectual property, and dumped products flooding the U.S. market. The U.S. good trade deficit with China continues to climb to new heights, reaching a record of $375 billion in 2017 and on track to exceed that in 2018. Talk about, this is not just cyber wars, this is economic wars as well.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and dumping is a rather insidious thing. Let's take rare earths. Rare earths are absolutely essential minerals. You use them in your cell phones, and they're also essential for a lot of our defense practices. Well, China began selling rare earths so low that American rare earth mining companies went out of business or just stopped doing that sort of practice after all. Now China has a complete monopoly on it. Plus, of course, if we needed this stuff really quick, we wouldn't be able to access it. So these are practices which are damaging not only to the American economy, but to the American national security as well.
Well, it just looks like we've known about this for a long time, Frank. You talk about 1990, President Clinton permitted a sale to the Chinese government of a supercomputer. Talk about how long we've been engaged with this with China and what all we've, it sounds like we've just sold out our whole government, sold our birthright, if you will.
Well, it goes back quite a ways. There was a point in time when the Chinese were sort of on the same side of us in the fight against the Soviet Union. The Chinese were fearful of the Soviet Union. We did give them some military technology at the time, which seemed a logical thing to do because we were both on the same side against the Soviets. When the Soviet Union fell, though, the Chinese realized that they didn't have to worry about Russia at the moment, and so we became the main enemy. Their economy is geared, their military is geared towards opposing the United States. That was evident to everyone involved. At that point, it became crazy to transfer this type of technology to the Chinese. A lot of companies across the country, across the United States, saw big bucks in China, thought that they could make a killing. There are 1 billion people over there after all. But what they're finding out, unfortunately, one by one, rather than as a group, is that most sales to China are sort of one-offs. You sell your product to China, they pirate it, they copy it, and then all of a sudden they're producing your product over there. And they're not paying you any loyalty or any profits. They're not giving you any patent privileges. It's just an outright theft. So you'd think after all this time we would have learned. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem we have. And the problem again is that so many elected officials are turning a blind eye because they too are involved in this gravy train.
Well, that's why I thought it was interesting that Andrew Yang, he says that Chinese behavior is deeply problematic. It's not just about lying, it's about stealing as well. And I thought that was interesting that he would just call it deeply problematic. Frank, tell us how our listeners can follow you and read more about these things that you write on.
Well, of course, the most important way is by listening to the Conservative Commandos. Beyond that, our website is usagovpolicy.com, and you can get a listing of all the stations that carry our show. And each day we have a new research column up there, which your readers, I'm sure, would enjoy.
Well, and you also have a TV program as well, don't you?
We do, and that's also on the Conservative Commandos on the AUN network as well. It's the Vernuccio Novak Report radio show and the American Political Zone television show.
Thank you so much, Frank Vernuccio, for being here on Conservative Commandos radio show with us. God bless you and keep doing good work.
Sharron, Nasir, it was great being with you, and tell Rick to come out behind the curtain once in a while.
Thank you.
We are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios in our own commando studios, and we are on the world on the internet with iHeartRadio, TalkStream Live, TuneIn, American Political Radio, Leading Edge Radio Network, and AM/FM 24/7. We'll be right back after these messages with Dr. Nasir Shaikh. I'm Sharron Angle, and our next guest, Michael Busler, Dr. Michael Busler, who's going to be talking to us about the $15 minimum wage will do more harm than good.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to buyyourtimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. Buyyourtimeshare.com. That's buyyourtimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Sharron Engel. My co-host today is Dr. Nasir Shaikh. That's right, Dr. Wright is with us. And we are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Network studios. And now you can watch us on the AUN TV network in Northern California, Pelosi country, San Francisco, San Rafael, Marin, North Bay, Sacramento, all of those places where we feel that we should be impacting the culture in California with some conservative ideals. And with that, Nasir, we have our next guest. Would you please do the introductions and make him feel welcome?
I will, Sharon. Thank you so much. We have Dr. Michael Busler, who's a public policy analyst and a professor of finance at Stockton University, where he teaches undergraduate and graduate courses in finance and economics. He also writes an op-ed column in major newspapers for many, many years. Dr. Busler, welcome back to the Conserve Commandos radio show.
Well, thank you, Nasir and Sharron. It's my pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, great. We want to talk about something that I don't think is really being talked about that much in the news. I'm saying that obviously very facetiously, but you wrote an article about the $15 minimum wage and why it will do more harm than good. So in your article, you give us some statistics from the CBO, which is a Congressional Budget Office, said that if we do gradually raise the minimum wage to $15 per hour, it would lift 1.3 million Americans out of poverty. However, it says that the problem it will cause up to 3 million workers to lose their jobs. So could you explain that to our listening, viewing audience, the difference in those two, statements?
Sure. So somebody's wage goes from $7.25 an hour to $15 an hour, more than doubles. For people that have a job, that will double their income and raise them out of poverty. That's true. The problem is $15 an hour is over $30,000 a year for a business, plus you have to pay their 6% of their Social Security, and you're hiring somebody, with all due respect, who has absolutely no skills. And a minimum wage person has zero skills. They essentially can't do anything. And again, I'm not criticizing anybody, but they have no skills. So how many jobs do you think will be available for someone who wants a wage of over $30,000 a year, closer to 35, and really has no skills? You have to train them. What ends up happening is that economists would say labor gets replaced by capital. In other words, you go into a fast food restaurant today, and somebody takes your order, they bring the food, somebody else works the cash register, and you pay them. If they had to pay their workers $30,000 or $35,000 a year, they would be replaced by touch screens that would do the ordering for you and take the payments. And that's just a simple example. It just becomes cheaper to use the technology rather than a human. Most businesses would prefer human contact. From a marketing standpoint, it's always stronger, but you have to watch your numbers, and the higher wages mean there's going to be significant job loss.
That's true. I mean, you see that happening at a lot of fast food restaurants now, especially in some, major cities across the United States, where you go into a Burger King or McDonald's or even a Pizza Hut or whatever, and you see these kiosks that are set up there, 3 or 4 at a time. Line queues are there. Some people are standing in front of the cash register, but a lot of them are standing in front. And you know what? You're using your credit card. You place your order. You get your ticket just like you would normally. And then you just wait in line to get served, and somebody brings your tray at your table, basically, and you're off to the races. And like you said, you don't have to pay for, the healthcare costs of a machine or a kiosk. You don't have to pay for any of that. One of the things is, I think people are learning now, but give us an idea. You probably know about the story of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and, nothing wrong with her previous job that she had. Listen, bartenders, a lot of people did that to work their way through college. That's great. You start off, at a job like that, and she's worked her way up. But that same coffee shop that's been around there for decades has closed their business because they said they had over 150 employees, and they were not allowed, they couldn't, make it. So they basically closed down. And recently we've heard about Bernie Sanders, Mr. BS himself, basically, the hypocrisy, this. All of a sudden, he's got to sign the back of a paycheck. And what does he do? Do exactly what we say, that you got to lower the hours in order to get up to that $15 minimum wage. His own workers weren't being paid what he was saying he wanted to do. So give us, your take on that.
Yeah, clearly there's all kinds of examples how that works. Look, technology is improving. We're getting automation and artificial intelligence, and that's true. But the faster they push up the minimum wage, the higher they push up the minimum wage, the faster this automation and artificial intelligence will be developed. And again, it's relatively simple. A business person says, I'm paying somebody $8 an hour, and it's $16,000 a year. It works for me. The equipment costs more than that. It doesn't pay me to buy the equipment and do the touch screens. Well, now if you tell me I have to pay them $30,000 a year, and I have 6 or 8 or 10 of them, suddenly the touch screens look very inexpensive. So the higher the wage goes, the more likely you are to switch from labor to capital intensive. And we're at a time with innovation that we have that's becoming a relatively simple thing to do. One other big negative point is who's going to pay all this? So according to the CBO, there are approximately 27 million people making less than $15 an hour, even though there's only about 500,000 that actually make the $7.25. So if all of those people go up to $15 an hour, that turns out to be 200 or 300 billion a year more labor costs. Now, there's only two places that can come from. It either comes from the business's profit, and if the profit gets knocked down too much, they go out of business. A West Coast chain just went out of business. They have stores in Portland, Seattle, where the minimum wage is already at that high level. So the business could pay out a profit. More than likely, he'll try to pass it on to consumers. So consumers end up paying higher prices for things they shouldn't pay higher prices for. It's another program that really transfers income away from people that have earned it and give it to people who, for whatever reason, haven't really earned it.
Let's talk about this from the political side, Dr. Busler, and that is, how would you advise, let's say, political consultants? Because you know what? On the Democratic side or on the left side, it's always good to talk about when you talk about the $15 an hour wage. And everybody, we're all for, but why stop at 15? Why not 20? Why not 25? But it sounds good in theory. And it sounds like, you're on the side of the working class worker, working class America. But now you try to counter that with the Republican side or the conservative side. And it seems like, we're always giving it numbers and we're giving it statistics. And there's no emotion attached to that. How would you say that we would, on the political side, try to bring this about, to bring people to the realization that, look, it's not just numbers, it's also about what negativity it's going to bring. But without the numbers, is there a way to do that?
Yeah. So every study that I've seen done about raising the minimum wage shows that the vast majority of people support the raise in the minimum wage. But every study was only to raise the minimum wage by 80 cents an hour or 90 cents an hour, nothing in the magnitude of more than doubling it. Americans are very sympathetic. They're very compassionate people. And look, if somebody's working, I'd like to see them earn a living wage. So you're compassionate, you tend to favor it. However, now when we explain to them, if you really want to help people, instead of giving them money that they haven't earned, give them opportunity to earn their own money. And that's exactly what the Trump administration is trying to do. The prior administration was concerned with curing perceived social injustices. It's injustice everybody doesn't have health care. It's injustice CEOs make more than everybody else. It's injustice that banks take advantage of consumers, instead of concentrating on economic growth. So we ended up with a stagnant economy. From 2006 to 2016, growth averaged about 2%. We had a stagnant economy, produced very little new opportunity, and they pushed these social programs. President Trump comes in, he says, if you really want to help people, instead of giving them things, give them the opportunity to earn it themselves. So he gets rid of regulations, he cuts taxes, he does everything he can with one hand tied behind his back by everything he's up against, and he manages to get the economy to jump from 2% growth to 3% growth. The Federal Reserve looks like they're going to start working with him a little bit more, and maybe growth will go a little higher. So now what's happening is people are finding opportunities. Since last August, there have been more job openings than there are unemployed people. Today, there are 7 million, roughly, job openings and about 6 million unemployed people. So if you want work and you want opportunity, first of all, learn how to contribute to the economy. You have to have some kind of a skill or somehow be able to contribute. But once you do that, there's plenty of opportunity. You don't need all these government programs. You don't need a minimum wage. Your wage will be much higher. That's what we sell to them. We sell opportunity.
And one final thing, Dr. Busler. On a personal, let me ask you, how are your views on campus, sort of being taken? Obviously, you write the articles, and many students, they're probably for the $15 wage. So I'm sure you've got, how are you portrayed on campus and with your students and others? Give us an idea.
I'm not portrayed in a very favorable light. The university where I teach was started as a liberal arts college, and of the 330 faculty members, I think I did find 3 other ones that somewhat share my views, but most of them have vastly different views. We do have respect for each other, and I'm a senior member of the faculty now, so I can pretty much handle myself in situations. But everybody's respectful, and some things I just don't get into the conversation because I'm nowhere near where they are.
Well, we're here. Well, that's good to know. We're here speaking with Dr. Michael Busler, who's a public policy analyst and a professor of finance at Stockton University. Doctor, we've got to hold you over for another segment. Would you mind?
I certainly would not. It would be my pleasure.
Well, great. Well, you're here listening to us and watching us on the Conservative Commandos Radio Network and on the AUN TV broadcasting system. And folks, we've got to take a quick break for our sponsors, so don't go away. We'll be back with Dr. Michael Busler in our second half of our interview. So stay tuned and don't go away.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is, there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to buyyourtimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. Buyyourtimeshare.com. That's buyyourtimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Sharron Engel. I'm here with my co-host, Dr. Nasir Shaikh. And if you'd like to see a rebroadcast or hear a rebroadcast of our show, go to our website, ccrshow.com. That's ccrshow.com. We're here with our guest, Michael Busler, who is a public policy analyst and professor of finance at Stockton University, which is, in our way of thinking, the belly of the beast. He lives there in Pelosi country, so he knows exactly what he's talking about. I was very interested in your article, especially in a couple of places where you talk about what's actually going on, the real truth. You say, even today, when the overall unemployment rate is under 4%, the rate of those who earn minimum wage is about 13%. How does that $15 an hour play into that figure? It seems like the ones we're supposed to be helping are actually, it's going the other way.
Exactly. This whole thing is actually hurting the people that are helping. Let me also correct one thing. Stockton University happens to be in New Jersey. So I'm really in fact, I'm on the Jersey Shore, so I'm about as far from California as we can get. So the idea always with these social programs, the idea is always to try to help people. But in the end, you end up hurting exactly the people that you are trying to help. The minimum wage sounds like a good idea. You're going to pay somebody at least some minimum amount, and if they're working, they should get that. The problem is, if people have no skills, then they do work and they're not producing anything. It may not be worth that. If we had no minimum wage at all, some people would probably get paid less than $7 an hour, but at least everybody would be working. We wouldn't get these high unemployment rates. Usually for teenagers and people at minimum wage, the unemployment rate's usually in the 18%. The economy is doing so well that even they've benefited too. So I would say it's far better to have somebody working at a little lower wage and at least learning how to do something than there's a high wage there, but there's no job for them. If you learn how to do something, you work for a year or two, now you know how to do it, you're worth more to your employer, and if he's not willing to pay you more, you go down the street, look at the next employer and say, I've got 2 years worth of experience. You don't have to hire somebody that doesn't know how to do this. I know how to do this. That's how you have to get started into this in life and start getting skills and realizing if you want more, you have to earn more, not more is just going to be given to you because you are who you are.
Well, and that's the next thing you say in your article, that's the way our system works. So talk to us a little bit about our system. I think Nasir kind of alluded to it with Bernie Sanders. There are a lot of folks today in our universities especially that really don't understand our system and how it works.
That's right. And many of them are not interested really in learning how the system works. On college campuses, the vast majority of professors have a very liberal view of things, and they, I believe, have lost sight of what we're supposed to do in college. and that is teach critical thinking skills primarily. And that means that we have to give people both sides of an argument and let them use the critical thinking skills to figure out what they believe is the best way to go. These professors only present one side of an argument, and it's the liberal view. They look at these problems from a social standpoint rather than from an economic standpoint. And I've said to them, in the times I've gotten into some spirited debates with them, I've said to them, look, even if you want to concentrate on social issues, you're far better doing it from a really strong economy. That way there'll be plenty of income for everybody, a lot of people working, no need for transfer payments. Once you have a strong economy, then start to take a look at some of these issues. You started to look at these in 2010. That's the worst time. We're coming out of a severe recession. You should concentrate on economic growth. Instead, you have these social issues at a bad time. The economy never grew. Let the economy grow. Encourage economic growth. Everybody will feel better, and we can start to take a look at these social problems, I would argue.
Well, and I think you're exactly right. That's the way it's played out exactly here in my home state of Nevada, and especially here in my community of Reno. We were in a dismal place until 2016. The economy then took that upswing, which I will give President Trump that credit for, the upswing in our economy. Jobs then became, just as you told Nasir, there's more jobs than there is workforce here. And really, even a laboring job gets to name their own price. Who cares about $15? We're talking $18 to $22 an hour. And it's because the labor force isn't really meeting the needs of the jobs that we have. So we really have a supply and demand thing working as well, don't we?
Yeah, that's right. So when you have growth in the economy, there's a higher demand for labor. And now the demand for labor outstrips the supply. So what happens? Wages start to go up. And as that happens, all of these discouraged workers from 2006 to 2016 who had no opportunity at all dropped out of the labor force, became what we call discouraged workers. The labor force participation rate, the percent of adults either working or looking for a job, went way down. So now wages are going up, attracting these people back into the labor force, and that will get more people working in the long run, not only help them to support themselves, but also help the economy grow.
Well,
and that's how it's supposed to work.
And doesn't it work the opposite way for employers too, when they're saying, well, really, I'll just settle at $15. That's the minimum wage, right? They can't do that. They can't say, well, the government says $15 is all you deserve.
That's right. There is some belief that setting a minimum wage may actually have a negative effect on wages. The market equilibrium wage for laborers in Reno, Nevada could be $17 an hour. Well, if they start publicizing $15 an hour, pretty soon the business person says, well, they tell me all I have to pay is $15, and the worker starts to think, well, I guess that's the right number. That's what everybody's publicizing. So it ends up he ends up getting a lower wage. Now he'd like to check around and see what everybody else is paying, but oftentimes they don't do that, and you end up pushing wages down somewhat. So yeah, let the market decide what you have. A business person acting freely, you have a worker acting freely. Let them get together. Let them decide the job that they're going to perform and the amount that's worth. And if they can come to an agreement, great. If they can't, let them part and try somebody else.
Well, in what we experienced during that, I'm going to call it almost a depression. It was more than a recession here, those 10 years as you described them, is people moved away. They went to places where they could find that wage, and they uprooted businesses. In fact, they closed down here and relocated in places like Texas, where the economy was better.
Yeah. California also saw a lot of that. Now, they're a very high-tax state. They have a lot of social programs. I don't know if that's a slip problem. So they have a lot of social programs. And to pay for all those programs, the taxes have to be very, very high. Now, there are people that do very well in California. They have industries that are very profitable for the employees, the entertainment industry, the high-tech industry. They pay very well, but these people are saying on top of what the federal government takes, I'm paying 13% state income tax to California. Many of these companies have moved down to Texas. If you go to Austin, Texas now, the people I bump into down there, I think most of them came from California. So you get that kind of thing. And really what we need here is for government to take a little smaller role in things, let the market take over. That's really what made the country great. You know, if I can just go on a little rant for 30 seconds here. The U.S. went from the birth of a nation to the #1 economy in the world in about 150 years. Other countries were hundreds, in some cases thousands of years older. How did we do that? I think there were 4 basic principles. 1, we encouraged individual freedom. People were free to pursue what interest they thought was right. 2, we encouraged individual responsibility. People primarily took care of themselves. Thirdly, we had low rates of taxation. So when you earned something, you were going to keep most of it. And fourthly, we had a limited role for government. Government provided the public goods that they had to and basically stayed out of the way. Everything that's being proposed by the Democratic Party now, the minimum wage, free college tuition, free health care for everybody, all of those things go exactly against those principles. You're going to lose individual freedom. The government's going to control the health care. They'll tell who does what. You change from individual responsibility to social responsibility. Thirdly, they're going to have to raise taxes to pay for this. You now have a high rate of taxation. And fourthly, the government's involved in markets, exactly opposite to what truly made America great.
Thank you so much for that little lesson in what it really means to be a capitalist in America and also an American citizen. We're talking with our guest, Michael Busler, a doctor in public policy analyst and a professor of finance at Stockton University. That's in New Jersey, not in Stockton, California. And we want to ask you, Dr. Michael Busler, where can our audience follow you and read more of your articles?
So you can follow me on Twitter at @mbusler. That's at @MBUSLER. And if you're on your Facebook page, search for Funding Democracy. My page is called Funding Democracy, The Economics of Freedom. So just search Funding Democracy, and I'd love to have you follow me.
Well, it sounds like we could get a real education on funding democracy there on your page. Thank you so much for being our guest here, and God bless you.
Thank you.
We are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on iHeartRadio, TuneIn America, American Political Radio, Leading Edge Radio Network, and AM/FM 24/7. Nasir and I will be right back after this message.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is, there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to BuyYourTimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. BuyYourTimeshare.com. That's BuyYourTimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Sharron Angle with my co-host, Dr. Nasir Shaikh, Dr. Wright, the Doctor for the Republic. Nasir, would you thank our guests for being here on our show?
I will. Well, first guest we want to give a thank you to was Lieutenant Colonel Sargis Sangari, who's a retired U.S. Army colonel. And he was basically trying to give us he was talking to us about understanding foreign policy and understanding backyard wars. We also had Frank Vernuccio, who served as the editor-in-chief for the New York Analysis and Policy Government. Frank talked to us about his article, which was Selling Out to China. And finally, we had Dr. Michael Busler, who is a public policy analyst and a professor of finance at Stockton University. Dr. Busler was talking to us about the $15 minimum wage and how it actually does more harm than good. So once again, we had three great guests who gave us some great information, Sharron, as always here on the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Well, and we also had a great co-host. So tell our audience how they can follow you, Dr. Nasir Shaikh.
Well, thank you, Sharron. Well, they can follow me on my Facebook page, which is at The Nasir Shaikh Show. That's The Nasir Shaikh Show. Or on Twitter, at Nasir Shaikh Show. That's at Nasir Shaikh Show.
And of course, they can follow me at SharronEngle.com and our show at CCRShow.com. But for right now, we got to run. We got to go. Take care. God bless. We'll see you tomorrow on TV and radio.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Trump's attack on the quartet of radical Democratic congressmen is a smart and a bold move, panned by the media, but it's accomplishing its purpose. And because of it, Trump has soared, and he set up a great campaign issue for November. Trump has really made these 4 congresswomen the face of the Democratic Party. It reminds me a little bit of 1995 and 6, when I was running things for Bill Clinton. And Bob Dole was well-liked, our opponent, but Newt Gingrich at the time wasn't. So I basically repainted the landscape to make Gingrich our opponent, not Dole. And what Trump has done is to bypass Biden and all of the other Democrats and make these 4 women the face of the Democratic Party. Now, the only way he could do that, because he doesn't control the Democratic Party, is to attack them. and to know that at that point the Democrats would all cluster around them, would all come to defend them. Nancy Pelosi had been trying to shed these four characters and say they're not representative of the whole party. But once Trump attacked them, Pelosi had no choice but to embrace them, and so did the whole of the party. And now all the media attention is on, is Trump a racist or not for attacking these four women? And Trump is getting his attacks in, he's getting the verbiage, he's getting the coverage. The racist accusation isn't bothering him at all because it's clearly not racist. And the attack on the women is making them the key issue in the election. And since Trump has done that, he's been at his all-time high in job approval. Bravo, Donald.
AM/FM 24/7 Roku channel broadcasts all of our shows on demand. To ensure reliability, we store and stream our content on the same servers as Netflix and Amazon. Our Roku channel is free to use, and anyone owning one of the more than 10 million Roku devices can watch our channel at no cost whatsoever. If you have a television show or are thinking about producing a show, you can be a part of AM/FM 24/7's Roku channel. Watch our great shows on your Roku device. It's free and more reliable than cable TV. Are you stuck with a timeshare? Did you attend the presentation and were seduced and enticed into buying that great vacation and investment? Now you're in the terrible position of trying to figure out a way to get out of that mess. You're not alone. For over 15 years, BuyYourTimeshare.com has been helping people like yourself get out of timeshare ownership. The fact is there is no resale market. Unscrupulous telemarketers call you and say they have buyers waiting, and the next thing that happens is you give them hundreds of dollars for an ad, and you'll never hear from them again. Another fact is that an identical timeshare to yours is being offered on eBay for $1, and no one is buying it. If you want out of your timeshare, I urge you to go to BuyYourTimeshare.com or call them at 877-94-HELP-ME. That number again is 877-94-HELP-ME. BuyYourTimeshare.com. That's BuyYourTimeshare.com. 877-94-HELP-ME.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America. And get this, did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
I'm Jeff Crouere. Thanks for watching the Jeff Crouere YouTube channel. So the Democrats have no agenda. They don't really care about helping the American people. All they're looking to do is destroy one person, and that is Donald Trump. So what are they doing? They're launching bogus investigations into his foundation, into his real estate, into his, of course, family, trying to get his tax returns. They're doing it in New York, doing it on Capitol Hill. This is after 4 investigations have already exonerated him, saying there was no Russian collusion, after, of course, we know there was no obstruction of justice, after Mueller spent 2 years and $40 million, dozens of FBI agents, all kinds of subpoenas and interviews, and a partisan team of attorneys, they couldn't come up with anything. So now the Democrats, well, they're still flailing around trying to figure out how to bring down Donald Trump, because they don't care about helping the American people. They don't care about dealing with our border crisis. They don't want to improve the economy. They just want to get rid of the president. So, impeachment hearings, possibly. But even worse, Nancy Pelosi says to her Democrats that she really wants Donald Trump to go to prison. That's really what the Democrats feel about the President of the United States. They don't want to work with him on infrastructure. They don't want to work with him to create an even better economy. They don't want to support what he's trying to do around the world to improve our standing and our national security. They just want to bring about his destruction. so that they can get more power. That's why they're not doing anything about the border. So all these people will come in here and vote Democrat. They don't care about all the problems that are created by having millions of illegals in the country. So the Democrats are about just one thing, their own power. And of course, if it brings down the country, they don't care. So everything between now and November 2020 will be about going after Donald Trump. And hopefully the American people will realize this sham operation the Democrats are running and disregard all of these hearings, which are bogus, and realize that we've had these investigations now for years, nothing was found, and let's give the president another 4 years so he can really move his agenda forward and get rid of all of these bogus investigations. I'm Jeff Crouere. Thanks for watching.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Have you been leasing a property for your business or renting storage space? Are you tired of paying rent year after year? Call the experts at General Steel to own a building at up to 30% off now.
I'd been renting a building and paying someone else's mortgage, but General Steel showed me how I could own a space tailored to the needs of my business and for less than renting.
Call General Steel now at the number on your screen for our current building specials and to price your metal building system today.
My building's the dream I've had since finishing my house 14 years ago. I've been using it for a garage, workshop, and storage area for my tools and equipment, and I can't believe how great it turned out.
The economy is improving and the price of steel is expected to rise. Stop waiting. It could cost you thousands. Call General Steel now to see how you can own for less than you thought. Stop waiting to start your business or expand your operation. Call General Steel now.
Call 877-484-7002.
Socialist Bernie Sanders got a reality check on his $15 minimum wage plan, and his response sounds a whole lot like capitalism to me. This weekend was filled with comments and analysis on President Trump versus the squad. Who's winning and who's losing? We'll look at that. Plus, are the politics of all of this better for President Trump or the Democrats? All that and more. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour.
And God bless the United States of America.
All right, friends, welcome to the show. I hope you had a great weekend. We're still here at Studio One from the University of Notre Dame for one more week. Really enjoying it. And I just want to thank you for the awesome response to Friday's show. We gained so many subscribers, had so many views, and I just really, really appreciate it. So make sure you and your friends subscribe, hit the subscribe button, and please hit that bell so you'll be notified. All right, let's dive into the show. We're going to talk about President Trump, but first, it's socialist Bernie Sanders. And I say that because he identifies as socialist. He's not Democrat. He's a socialist, and he's not one of these, socialist lights like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez who identify as Democrat socialist. Nope, he's full-blown. So it's really interesting that this weekend the Bernie Sanders campaign said some really strange stuff that doesn't quite sound so socialist. Remember, this is the guy that for years has blasted Walmart for paying starvation wages. And just as a reminder, here's a clip from a couple of years ago.
What we are hearing from the American people is that those workers out there who are trying to get by on $9 or $10 an hour, what they are telling us is they can't get by on $9 or $10 an hour.
So you can't get by on $9 or $10 an hour, he says. So what's his plan? Here it is.
A federal minimum wage today of $7.25 an hour is a starvation minimum wage. And that is why together we're going to raise the minimum wage to a living wage, $15 an hour over the next few years.
So that's what he said a few years ago, and it hasn't changed. He's still pushing for a federal $15 minimum wage, and he even commented on it just last week. Here's the latest.
Frankly, a lot of people thought I was nuts. That's too high, they said. You can't do it, Bernie. Well, the House did it today. 7 states have already done it. In my view, if you work 40 hours a week, you should not be living in poverty.
Well, that was interesting. People saying he's nuts, pushing for a $15 minimum wage. But this is what he's doing. And let's just look at the economics of all of this stuff and why we don't like this. First of all, the government should not be telling private companies how much or how little to pay. That should be established by things like supply and demand and other economic factors. And when you force an artificial wage on a company, they are going to do things that violate the supply and demand and the economic factors that are around. They're going to cut wages. They're going to cut staff. They're going to do things to still meet their bottom line. That's just the way it is. And so this weekend, there was a dust-up that was very interesting because it turns out that Bernie Sanders isn't living up to what he's saying, and he's not paying his own staff the $15 minimum wage that he says every other person should have, and that he's trying to force on the American public. Here is a report from the Washington Post. It says, unionized campaign organizers working for Senator Bernie Sanders' presidential effort are battling with its management, arguing that compensation and treatment they are receiving does not meet the standards Sanders espouses in his rhetoric, according to internal communications. All right, so that's really interesting, again, considering what he has said for years and years. And here's more. A draft letter union members earlier had prepared to send Sanders campaign manager Faiz Shakir as soon as this week said that the field organizers cannot be expected to build the largest grassroots organizing program in American history while making poverty wages. Given our campaign's commitment to fighting for a living wage of at least $15 an hour, we believe it is only fair that the campaign would carry through this commitment to its own field team. The draft letter estimated that field organizers were working 60 hours per week at a minimum, dropping their average hourly pay to less than $13 an hour. It is said that many field staffers are barely managing to survive financially, which is severely impacting our team's productivity and morale. Some field organizers have already left the campaign as a result. So, the Sanders campaign apparently is paying starvation wages. And so what does he do? Does he say, oh my gosh, you're right, we're paying too low, we're going to up everybody to $15 an hour? Just like he says, this is what they forced on in Seattle and other governments. They forced employers to up the wage to $15 an hour. Surely that's what Sanders is going to do, right? Well, take a look. This is from Fox News. Democrat presidential candidate Bernie Sanders announces this weekend he will cut staffers' hours so that they can effectively be paid $15 an hour minimum wage, prompting mockery from critics who say the move is more evidence that Sanders' plan to raise the national minimum wage is hypocritical and would only lead to less work and more unemployment. What? So the capitalist argument is actually the one Sanders is adopting? He says he's socialist, but did he raise their wage? No, he lowered their hours, exactly what we said was going to happen, and this is from Bernie Sanders.
Are you crazy or just plain stupid?
Stupid is, stupid does, Mrs. Blue.
I guess.
So I guess Bernie Sanders has become a capitalist after all. The Democrats, they're probably going to be prepared to boot him out of the party because he doesn't represent what they espouse now, and it's just so funny to see capitalism in action. All right, so also this weekend, there was a lot of analysis. All last week, we had President Trump versus the Squad. And, of course, all the talking heads got out there, CNN and Fox News and all of this. And some of the stuff they said was really kind of bizarre. Here's a comment from CNN.
That so-called extemporaneous chant of send her back by the audience seems pretty suspicious because typically that type of thing is organized. When you see chants in audiences, a lot of times it's either someone is stoking it from the backstage or off stage, or there are people in the audience who have been sort of planted to do those things.
So President Trump spoke out against those chants at the rally, yet CNN thinks it's some kind of conspiracy, that it was planned all along, that they were plotting to do these racist chants that President Trump has denounced, yet CNN goes full on the conspiracy theories. Also, over at Fox News, we had Chris Wallace, who's no friend to conservatives. He was blasting President Trump, and here's what he said.
Nobody has any problem with what the president's policies have been. It's when he goes into stoking racial fears. I've never called any of his tweets racist, but there's no question that he is stoking racial divisions.
All right, just, give me a break. I don't remember Chris Wallace speaking out and blasting Obama when Obama was talking about Trayvon Martin or Ferguson or his professor buddy that was arrested by the cops, on and on, instant after instant, where racial tensions were elevated because of Obama. I don't recall Chris Wallace speaking out on that, but that was just the news media talking heads. Ilhan Omar was out again, and here's what she tweeted. She said, "You all should end this charade and accept that this racist president wants every black/brown person deported and Muslims banned. His immigration policies say this much." All right, so, she's not hiding anything there. She flat out says it, but that rhetoric that's supposed to diffuse racial tensions, again, that's elevating the situation and making it worse. But Omar wasn't alone. Of course, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez had to jump in, and here's what she tweeted. "There are some D.C. strategists that seem quite eager, almost wanting, to believe that Trump is a secret genius playing 3D racism chess. They're wrong. He's simply an impulsive racist who leaves his party scrambling to excuse bigotry and scam the country." All right, so that one cracks me up because she's saying that the Republican Party is the one that's scrambling, and it's the Democrats that are in disarray, the Democrats that are scrambling, and that leads us to our next segment. I wanted to just analyze some of what's been going on and see who it benefits. In the long run, with this strategy that the Democrats seem to be adopting and President Trump seems to be using, what's better? And that the answer, when you dive into it, is obvious. It's just so awesome. So first you have the play of the Democrats and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and here's what she said this weekend.
Once you start telling American citizens to, quote, go back to your own countries, this tells you that this president's policies are not about immigration, it's about ethnicity and racism.
All right, President Trump came back as well with his own tweet, and here's what he said. He said, "I don't believe these 4 congresswomen are capable of loving our country. They should apologize to America and Israel for the horrible, hateful things they have said. They are destroying the Democrat Party and are a weak and insecure people who can never destroy our great nation." All right, so here's where some of the politics comes in, all right? Last week, Axios did an analysis of social media. Who's getting the most social media shares and interactions among the 2020 Democrats running for president, President Trump, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And here is some of their findings. It said, in the week ending Sunday, July 14th, when Trump began his tweet rant, articles about the Democrat candidates generated 6.5 million combined social media interactions, shares, likes, comments, the fewest since mid-January. Articles about Trump generated 23.2 million interactions, according to data provided exclusively to Axios by Newswhip, a social media metrics company. The numbers also reflect the 2020 Democrats' lack of a lightning rod media sensation who can drive the conversation, like Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who had 4.8 million interactions. All right, so Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez got almost as much social media mentions as all the Democrats running for president. And then President Trump dominated all of them. So you see that he's the one getting the attention. And also that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, they are the ones driving the Democrat Party. No one out there says that the Democrats are the party of Cory Booker, or no one's saying that the Democrats are the party of Joe Biden, and no one's writing that the Democrats are the party of Kamala Harris. They identify the Democrats with Ilhan Omar, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and Rashida Tlaib. And President Trump is playing this to perfection. Here are some comments leading up to this weekend.
These women have said horrible things about our country and the people of our country. Nobody should be able to do that, and if they want to do that, that's up to them. But I can't imagine they're going to do very well at the polls.
All right, so he paints them as extremists, and then in follow-up comments, he ties it all together. Check this out.
If the Democrats want to embrace people that hate our country, people that are so far left that nobody's ever seen anything like it, if they want to embrace people that are so anti-Semitic and anti-Israel, they want to do that. That's up to them.
So now it's the Democrats are the party of those that hate America. That's basically his message. And he's got the poster people. He's got the poster child to look. They're not looking at Cory Booker or Kamala Harris. They're looking at these extremists. And President Trump has developed a strategy that I have never seen. When you have a president running for re-election, what's the main question they always ask, or they always want to ask? And that is, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? Well, the answer to that question is an obvious yes, because all the economic indicators are great. Unemployment is at historic lows. It's never been lower for Black or Hispanic unemployment. And so presidents get reelected on that alone, saying that basically he's better than Obama was. But now he's got this extra front that I haven't seen before, and that is he can say, please reelect me, because the alternative is not a Cory Booker or a Joe Biden. It's Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Rashida Tlaib, and Ilhan Omar. The country will go so far left, the Democrats have gone so far left, that you can't afford to not vote for me. So yes, I'm better than Obama was. The country is doing great. We want to keep going for those economic factors, but we also want to keep going because the alternative, whether you end up voting for Biden or Booker or whatever, what you're really voting for, who really represents you on the Democrat side, is these far left extremists. And it's a two-pronged attack that is just absolutely brilliant. Folks, that's our show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please come back Wednesday. Please subscribe. And when you do, hit that bell, and we'll see you next time. I'm Bobby Eberle. This is a 13-minute news hour. Okay, friends, just a little reminder before you go, and no, this does not count against my 13 minutes. Please hit the subscribe button below and tell your friends. And if you happen to miss our last show, you can check it out right here. And also for great conservative news and commentary, please check out GOPUSA.com. All right, folks, we'll see you on the next show. Have a great day.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Will the 2020s be a decade of GOP dominance? The recent Supreme Court decision, 5-4, opinion written by Roberts, suggests that it will be. Roberts ruled that partisan gerrymandering is outside of the scope of Supreme Court jurisdiction, and that it would constitute interference by the judicial branch with the legislative branch. And that decision clears the way for partisan Republican gerrymandering throughout the United States. That has been a key factor in the Republican ability to win the House this past decade. We lost it this last cycle. We'll probably regain it quickly, but the gerrymandering lies at the heart of that. Roberts wrote, "The drafters of the Constitution understood that politics would play a role in drawing election districts when they gave the task to state legislatures. Judges, the Chief Justice said, are not entitled to second-guess lawmakers' judgments. So have at it, guys. The state legislatures in Texas and a bunch of other states are going to craft lines skillfully that favor the Republican Party. And they're going to have a lot to work with. The massive change in migration in American population from the Northeast and California to the Sun Belt, from high-tax states to low-tax states, is reconfiguring the population of these states. There are some congressional districts in Texas that have 80,000 more people in them than they should to be proportionate to the rest of the country. How those districts are carved up is going to determine how many Republicans we have coming to the Congress from states like Florida, Arizona, and Texas. And the Roberts decision clears the way for them to do the gerrymandering, draw the districts as they wish, without judicial interference. It's a crucial step, and like many that are crucial, it's ignored by the media, but not by us.